There is a reason this message found you right now, not a second earlier and not a breath too late. Heaven has been watching the condition of your soul, the way you've carried invisible weights, the way you smile even when your spirit trembles, the way you give even when no one gives back. And now, God is no longer whispering from afar. He is stepping closer, closer than your thoughts, closer than the ache in your chest, closer than the tears you never let fall. He is not commanding. He is not shouting. He is begging. For just 3 minutes. Not for his sake. But for yours. Because what he has to say in this sacred space has the power to change everything inside you. My child, he speaks with a voice that fills the sky and your heart at once. You have been running for too long. Not from me, but from yourself. From the pieces of your heart you buried to stay strong. From the truth you were afraid to feel. But I have seen you. I have heard the prayers you didn't even know how to finish. I have watched you carry the kind of pain that others would never guess from the way you walk. And now, I come not to demand, but to heal. To sit with you in silence and speak love back into the parts of you that thought they were too forgotten to ever be remembered again. There are no conditions here. No judgments. No punishments. Just presence. Just the arms of a father who never left. A father who kept you breathing through nights when even hope felt like a stranger. And now he says, you don't need to pretend with me. I knew your heart long before the heartbreak. I knew your strength long before the storms. And I never abandoned you, not when the doors closed, not when the people left, not when you felt like you were losing everything. I stayed. And I am still here. And if you would just give me these next few minutes, I will begin something in your life that the enemy has tried to delay for years. This is not about religion. This is not about rules. This is about relationship. About divine connection. About the God who knew you before you were born, and who's been fighting for your heart every day since. The reason you've been feeling more sensitive lately, more emotional, more aware of your thoughts, it's because your spirit knows something is shifting. God has been pulling you gently, quietly, waiting for this moment when you would finally pause long enough to feel him again. He is not far away. He is here. And this message is your confirmation, he has not forgotten you. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not behind schedule. You are not too late. You are exactly where heaven wants to meet you. And even if no one else understands, even if the world tells you to toughen up and move on, heaven says, let me hold you right here. Let me rebuild what they broke. Let me remind you that your name is still spoken in the highest places, that your future has not been cancelled, that your story is not over. God ends this part with a final request, just stay. Don't scroll away. Don't skip this moment. I'm not asking for everything. I'm just asking for these 3 minutes. Because if you give me this space, I will give you what this world never could, peace that doesn't leave, love that doesn't end, and hope that finally feels real again. There's a reason your heart has been feeling more tender lately. There's a reason why in the middle of your daily life, there are sudden pauses where time feels slower, and emotions rise without explanation. These are not random moments. These are divine interruptions. Heaven has been trying to reach you not through thunder, but through stillness. Not through drama, but through peace. Because God is not trying to scare you into believing. He's trying to remind you that He never stopped being close. You've gone through so much that your soul learned how to build walls, how to stay silent, how to endure, but now God wants to gently undo what life has made you hide. He speaks now, not through a preacher, not through a ceremony, but through the still place inside you where His voice has always lived. My child, I didn't come to accuse you. I didn't come to list your mistakes. I came to sit beside you in the exact state you are in right now. I know your confusion. I know your fatigue. I know the battles you've never spoken out loud. And yet, here you are. Still open. Still searching. Still trying. And I need you to know, that alone makes me proud. You're not weak for being emotional. You're not wrong for feeling heavy. You are human, and I created that heart in you to feel. Don't let the world teach you to numb it. You've questioned your worth quietly. You've watched others get celebrated while you stayed in the shadows. You've clapped for them while secretly asking heaven, what about me? And God says now with unshakable love, I was never ignoring you. I was preparing you. There were things I needed to build in silence. Strength that only grows in the unseen. Faith that is forged in the fire. You are not overlooked. You are being positioned. And the very thing you thought was a delay was actually me preserving you. Because I don't just want you to get the blessing, I want you to be strong enough to keep it when it comes. Michael stands silently nearby. He doesn't speak this time, he watches. Because what is happening right now is too sacred to interrupt. You, the beloved one, are finally beginning to open your heart again. You're beginning to feel the love of God again. And in that place, heaven does not shout, it honors. You don't need proof, you need presence. And presence is exactly what's being poured into your life at this very moment. You are not being pushed. You are being pulled, into grace, into rest, into freedom. And no one around you even needs to know what's happening. Because this is between you and God. This is personal. This is eternal. The Father speaks again with the kind of voice that breaks walls. You've said, I'm fine, too many times. But I see through it. I see the parts of you that ache for comfort but don't know how to ask for it. I see the dreams you buried because disappointment was easier than hope. I see the loneliness you feel even when surrounded by people. And I want you to know, I miss you. Not because you've done something wrong. But because you've stopped talking to me the way you used to. And I miss your voice. I miss the real you. Not the strong version you show everyone else. The raw, beautiful, vulnerable you that I've always loved. So take a breath. A real one. Let go for a moment. Let this message wash over you like rain on dry ground. You don't have to figure everything out right now. You don't have to prove anything to be loved. God is not waiting for perfection. He's waiting for permission. Permission to heal. Permission to restore. Permission to love you back to life. And all he's asking for is this: give me your heart, just for today. You can take it back if you want. But for now, just rest it in my hands. I promise you, you've never been safer. Heaven has been watching the quiet places of your life, where no camera sees, where no friend has ever been invited, where your deepest questions live untouched. And still, God chose that space to speak into, not because you were perfect, but because you were real. You didn't come to this message by mistake. Something drew you, something holy, something that didn't shout but whispered. That whisper was not coincidence, it was God's voice calling you to remember that even in your silence, your name was still being spoken in heaven. Not by one, but by many. Angels have been circling your name, and God has been gently protecting your heart even when you felt like it was falling apart. There is a rhythm to love that only eternity understands. And in that rhythm, God has been dancing over you. You, who thought you were forgotten. You, who questioned if your pain had a purpose. You, who smiled in rooms while your soul quietly mourned. God saw you then. He sees you now. And He's not just observing, He's calling. Calling you back to the place of softness. The place where you don't have to fight for approval. The place where love is not earned, it's offered. The place where you can fall apart and still be called beloved. And in this very moment, God wraps His voice around you like a warm garment and whispers, I never stopped choosing you. Even when you stopped choosing yourself. The world may have taught you to toughen up, to stay busy, to move on. But heaven teaches the opposite. Heaven teaches you to pause. To remember. To feel deeply. Because the things of eternity are never rushed. And in the slowing down, you start to feel it again, that ache in your chest that isn't sadness, but sacredness. That silent cry that isn't weakness, but worship. That moment where the deepest parts of you begin to whisper back, I want to be whole again. And God leans in with tears in His voice and says, that's all I needed to hear. You've tried to be strong for so long, haven't you? You've carried burdens in silence. You've hidden the parts of yourself that felt too tender to show. But right now, God is sitting with you and reminding you, you're allowed to feel again. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to not know the answers. You're allowed to still be healing. And none of this makes you less. It makes you mine, says the Lord. Because I don't just want the version of you that's successful. I want the version of you that's honest. The one who sits in the dark and whispers, God, if you're real. I need you now more than ever. That's the version I run toward. Michael still stands close. His wings folded in reverence. He has seen your nights. He has seen your loneliness. He has watched over your sleep and guarded you from attacks you never even knew came. He is not here to warn you. He is here to celebrate you. You have made it to a moment that many never get to, a moment of spiritual turning. Where something inside you says, I can't keep carrying it alone. And the moment you even think it, God answers instantly, you don't have to. You never had to. I've been waiting for you to give me what you thought you had to figure out on your own. So now, breathe. Not the shallow breath you take during the day. but the kind of breath that fills your soul. Because this is your sacred reset. This is heaven pulling you into peace. This is not a sermon. This is not a lecture. This is not even a message. This is a divine reunion. Your heart is meeting your Creator again. Not to be corrected, but to be comforted. And if you sit just a little longer, you'll start to feel it, the peace that doesn't ask for explanation, the love that doesn't leave, the voice that simply says, "You're still mine. I'm not letting you go." Heaven doesn't move on your schedule, it moves on your surrender. And right now, God is not waiting on your perfection, He's waiting on your permission. He's not looking for you to recite the right prayer, or have the right words. He's only longing for you to whisper honestly, "God, I'm tired, and I miss you." And in that whisper, your soul finds its home again. The space where no pretending is needed. Where your past doesn't scream louder than His love. Where the wounds don't need to be explained because they're already understood. And in this sacred pause, God is gathering all the parts of you, the shattered ones, the silent ones, the brave ones, and gently saying, "Let me carry you this time." There were moments you thought were the end. Times when you looked around your life and asked, "Is this all there is?" Days when you smiled for others but cried when no one was watching. You felt invisible to people, but not to me, says the Lord. I saw every breakdown you tried to hide. I saw the way you pushed through when your soul was exhausted. I saw the way you encouraged others while your own heart was bleeding. And for all the moments you believed I was silent, I was actually closest. I wasn't absent, I was absorbing. I was catching the tears you didn't even cry yet. I was strengthening the roots under your surface. Because what I'm building in you doesn't need to be rushed, it needs to be rooted. This is the season where heaven restores you from the inside out. Not with noise. Not with crowds. But with clarity. The kind that settles deep in your chest and makes you say, "I don't know what's coming next, but I trust who's guiding me through it." This is the sacred shift. The moment where you no longer carry yourself with anxiety, but with quiet authority, because you know who walks with you. And even if no one understands this soft rebirth you're experiencing, Michael understands. He has seen your spiritual hunger. He has seen you fight to stay tender when life tried to harden you. And today, heaven responds, not with applause, but with access. You've been trusted with divine proximity. God's voice moves like wind over water, steady, sure, soft but full of power. My child, you've been strong for too long. I didn't create you to live in survival mode. I created you to thrive in surrender. I created you to walk in peace, not panic. And I know letting go feels like weakness, but letting go into my hands is where you find your true strength. You don't need to have a plan. You don't need to figure it out. You just need to come back home to me. I've been right here. No anger. No judgment. Just open arms. Because nothing you've done has ever outrun my love for you. And Michael, standing like a silent guardian, places no pressure on you, only protection. He's guarded you in dreams. He's whispered to you in moments of panic. He's held your name inside the chambers of heaven until the divine timing arrived. And now he speaks with calm authority, you are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not unworthy. You are awakening. And the weight you've carried has made you stronger, but now it's time to lay it down. Your value is not in your performance. Your identity is not in what hurt you. You are loved because you are chosen. You are whole even while you're still healing. So breathe again. Breathe like someone who's being healed, not punished. Sit in this presence like what was meant to silence you. You're still here. Still open. Still seeking. And God says, that's all I ever wanted, to be with you in the stillness, in the surrender, in the sacred quiet where real transformation begins. There is a sacred language only the soul understands, and that's the language God is speaking to you now. He's not using fear. He's not forcing. He's simply drawing you in with something more powerful than anything this world has ever offered, gentle love. Love that sees your scars and still calls you beautiful. Love that knows your flaws and still chooses you. Love that isn't based on how strong you look on the outside, but on how bravely you've survived inside. The kind of love that doesn't just visit you in your joy, but sits beside you in your grief. And that love has been following you, chasing you through disappointment, through abandonment, through confusion, just waiting for this moment, when your heart would finally have space to receive it again. God has never been ashamed of your broken places. In fact, those are the places He treasures most. Because that's where your pride melts and your real self speaks. That's where your prayers become raw, not rehearsed. That's where heaven meets humanity, in the tension, in the tears, in the truth you're too tired to hide anymore. And now, in this silence, God sits with you, not as a stranger to your pain, but as the one who never left your side. He's been with you through every dark hallway you didn't think you'd survive. And today, He's not handing you a lecture. He's handing you rest. My beloved, He says with a voice that calms every storm inside you, I know what they did. I know what you lost. I know how hard you've tried to stay strong. But you don't have to carry this alone anymore. I'm not impressed by your performance, I'm moved by your heart. I've never needed your perfection. I've only ever wanted your presence. And I've missed you. Not the version of you who's always trying to fix everything, but you, the one who used to talk to me even when nothing made sense. Come back to that place. That simple place. That soft place. That sacred space where you and I were always enough. Heaven has not forgotten how deeply you've loved. Michael has recorded the moments you chose peace over revenge, grace over gossip, silence over screaming. You've been stronger than even you realize. But now, strength looks different. Now, strength means letting God take the weight. Strength means sitting down in His presence and saying, I don't know how to fix this, but I trust you. And that single sentence releases heaven's river to rush into your soul. Because surrender is not giving up, it's giving over. Giving your questions, your burdens, your ache into the hands of the one who actually knows what to do with them. Michael's wings don't move. He doesn't need to fly right now. His assignment is already being completed, because you're reading this. Because you stayed. Because even when your soul wanted to scroll away, something told you this moment was for you. And it is. You're not late. You're not disqualified. You're not forgotten. You're becoming. Becoming what pain tried to destroy. Becoming what prayers tried to birth. Becoming who heaven always saw, even when earth didn't. Now take a breath, not because you're told to, but because your soul finally has space to. You don't need to rush to the next answer. You don't need to solve the next problem. This is the miracle moment. The moment where healing begins without effort. The moment where peace arrives without explanation. The moment where God holds you, not because you earned it, but because you are His. And in His arms, no part of you is too much. No emotion is too heavy. No doubt is too dangerous. He already knew. And He stayed. There are moments when silence is not empty, but full. Full of presence. Full of answers without explanation. Full of a kind of peace that doesn't require sound. And right now, in this very stillness, God is not far, He's closer than your own heartbeat. He's not asking you to climb some spiritual mountain. He's not waiting for you to do more, fix more, prove more. He's only asking for your honesty. Just your breath. Just your awareness. Because that's where love begins again. Not in the noise, but in the nearness. In the quiet place where your soul whispers, I don't know how to keep going, and heaven replies, you don't have to. I'm carrying you now. This is not the version of your story where you have to pretend to be okay. This is not the chapter where you need to gather yourself for others. This is the sacred page where God meets you in rawness. In your unanswered questions. In your silent pain. In your aching hope. He kneels beside your mess, not to judge it, but to bless it. To speak into the very space you've kept locked away. The space where you said, this part of me isn't ready. And God says now with full authority, that's the exact part of you I want. The unready. The unsure. The hurting. Give me that. Because my love doesn't wait for you to be strong, it rushes in when you admit you're tired. He's not disappointed in how long it's taken you to open your heart again. He's not angry about the times you questioned Him. He's not keeping record of the days you doubted. He kept loving. Kept covering. Kept sending little signs to remind you, you're still mine. Even when you forgot how to pray, He never stopped answering. Even when you turned off the light, He never stopped shining over you. And now, in this holy moment, He whispers the words your soul didn't even know it needed, you're not too much. You're not too sensitive. You're not too late. You're not broken beyond use. You are seen, you are safe, and you are still chosen. Archangel Michael stands beside you, not with a sword this time, but with silence. Because there are some moments that don't need battle, they need belonging. He's watched the way you've survived the unspoken. The way you've worn invisible armor just to make it through the day. He saw how you picked yourself up from heartbreaks no one clapped for. And today, He says nothing, because this is not about instructions. This is about inhalation. About breathing in the truth that you are not fighting alone. You are not forgotten in the details of heaven. You are central to the plan of peace that God is unfolding right now. Don't rush this moment. Don't hurry past this softness. The world will teach you to toughen up, to keep moving, to be strong. But heaven says something else. Heaven says be still. Be honest. Be held. Because only in that posture does true restoration begin. This isn't about getting back to who you were. This is about becoming who you've always been underneath the pain. Who you were before the world lied to you. Before trauma reshaped your faith. Before rejection rewired your identity. God is not trying to return you to a past version. He's revealing the truest you who has always been loved beneath the layers. So let this moment stay open. Let it stretch across your chest like light breaking through heavy clouds. Let the tears rise without shame. Let the tension leave your jaw. You are not weak for feeling. You are not unstable for slowing down. You are not lost because you've wandered. You are being found again. Not by the world. Not by people. But by God, the one who's loved you from before your first breath, and who has never stopped calling you home. The world might have convinced you that your value is based on how much you produce, how often you smile, how quickly you move on, but heaven sees something deeper. Heaven sees the weight your spirit carries when no one is looking. Heaven sees the quiet strength it takes to get out of bed when grief is hiding beneath your breath. Heaven sees the prayers you whisper in the dark, the ones you don't even say with words anymore, just sighs, just silence, just aching. And right now, heaven is not waiting for you to fix yourself. Heaven is sitting beside you, holding space, waiting for your heart to remember, you are not alone. God has been writing a story through your life that doesn't look like everyone else's. And that's intentional. You were never meant to be a copy. You were never meant to blend in. There's a divine mark on your spirit, a glow that only heaven sees. That's why certain people couldn't stay. That's why certain seasons broke before they bloomed. Because what you're called to carry requires a deeper foundation. And the shaking? It wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal you. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are right on time for a miracle that carries your name. Michael's eyes are on you with honor, not pity. He has guarded your name in rooms you've never entered, defended your destiny in realms you've never seen. You thought you were alone, but you were being preserved. Heaven has been protecting you from distractions that would have stolen your purpose. And now Michael speaks, not in thunder, but in tenderness. Your resilience is not small. It has echoed through the spirit realm. You've walked through storms silently, and heaven has recorded every step. Now the time has come to restore what the pain tried to rewrite. Your life is not just recovering, your life is being redeemed. God leans closer, and his voice fills the spaces you didn't know were empty. There's nothing you've done that scares me away. There's no question too big, no failure too heavy. You keep trying to protect me from your brokenness, but I don't need protection, I need permission. Permission to walk with you through the fire. Permission to hold you when you fall. Permission to bless you even when you feel like you haven't earned it. I'm not waiting for the perfect version of you. I'm reaching for the present you, the weary you, the doubting you, the honest you. That's the one I love most. You've waited long enough for someone to affirm your journey. You've waited for someone to say, "You've done well." You didn't give up. You held on even when it hurt. So here it is, heaven's affirmation, sealed in divine timing: you are seen. You are not just loved. You are treasured. You are not just noticed. You are chosen. And all the tears, all the delay, all the confusion, none of it has been wasted. Heaven has been building something inside you that could not be rushed. And now, the shift begins. Not around you, but within you. This is your turning point. Not with noise, not with drama, but with the quiet force of grace. And so now, take this message not as another encouragement, but as your evidence. The evidence that God never gave up on you. That heaven has always been nearby. That your soul was never lost, it was just being refined. Let this message live in you. Let it speak louder than fear. Let it cover your doubts like a blanket. Because you were not created to walk alone. You were created to walk with the one who still calls your name in the middle of the night, just to remind you, you're his. You are not here by chance. You are not reading this because of coincidence. This was a divine moment designed between time and eternity. Heaven scheduled this conversation long before. You knew what you'd need, long before the ache arrived, long before the silence set in. Because God has always known that there would be a day when you'd feel this way, this tired, this empty, this quietly overwhelmed. And for that moment, He prepared this exact message. A holy invitation. Not to rush, not to fix, not to pretend, but simply to receive. Receive the healing, receive the love, receive the unseen embrace that your soul has been yearning for. There are seasons in life when your heart becomes a battlefield and every thought feels like a war. The smile stays, but the peace disappears. You keep showing up, but the joy doesn't follow. You go through the motions, but something inside feels distant. And yet, in that very distance, God begins His work, not when you're strong, but when you finally stop performing. Not when you shout the loudest, but when you allow yourself to cry the quietest. That's where He meets you, in the surrender. That's where His whisper is the loudest. And right now, Heaven is whispering with urgency, don't skip this moment. This is your restoration hour. Michael has seen it all. The conversations that hurt you but you never responded to. The moments you chose silence over defense. The hours when you stood in front of a mirror trying to convince yourself you were okay. And now He kneels, not because you are weak, but because your survival was sacred. What you overcame didn't make the headlines, but it made heaven shout with joy. What you endured didn't get applause, but it unlocked favor. You didn't lose yourself, you revealed your strength. And now the time has come, not to fight more, but to heal deeper. God is not shouting. He's not demanding. He is leaning close and speaking into the bones of your being. you've spent so much time trying to be enough for everyone else. But when was the last time you simply rested in my enoughness? You don't have to beg me to love you. I already do. You don't have to chase my favor. You already have it. I'm not waiting for a perfect version of you to appear. I'm here for the real you, the exhausted, beautiful, brave, aching version who is still standing. That's the one I adore. Your tears have been seen. Your strength has been recorded. Your loneliness has been acknowledged. And heaven is now sending answers not in the form of noise, but in the form of clarity. You don't need more people's approval, you need my affirmation, says God. And I say, you are chosen. You are protected. You are prepared. This season might look like wilderness, but it is actually a womb. A place where something divine is growing, quietly, invisibly, but powerfully. What you thought was isolation was preparation. What you feared was punishment was actually positioning. And now, you're about to walk into something that makes the pain make sense. So breathe, beloved. Breathe like someone who is no longer running. Breathe like someone who is being carried. Breathe like someone who doesn't have to hold everything together anymore. Heaven is not applauding your perfection, it's celebrating your perseverance. Michael remains, not with urgency, but with honor. He knows what's coming. He knows the breakthrough has already been released. He knows that heaven has issued a new page for your story, one written not in fear, but in freedom. This is your moment. Not because everything is fixed. Not because all the answers have arrived. But because your soul has opened again. And when your soul opens, heaven responds. God is not begging you because he is desperate. He is begging you because he is devoted. He loves you that much. Enough to wait. Enough to whisper. Enough to reach again and again until finally, you feel it. That maybe, just maybe, you were never forgotten. That maybe, you were the miracle all along. You didn't stumble onto this moment, you were guided here. With everything you've been through, you might have forgotten how divinely directed your steps really are. But heaven has not forgotten. God has kept a record, not of your failures, but of your faithfulness. Not of your brokenness, but of your quiet bravery. And now, something sacred is shifting in your favor. You've waited, not just in time, but in tears. You've hoped, not just in words, but in the silent places where no one saw. And that's exactly where God has been building the next chapter of your life, in the dark soil of your hidden strength. For so long, you thought your delays meant denial. You thought your heartbreak was a reflection of heaven's silence. You believed the lies that said, if it didn't happen by now, it's not for you. But beloved, what if God was never saying no? What if he was saying, not yet, because I'm building something better than you're praying for? The door that stayed closed wasn't locked against you. It was sealed for your protection. What didn't show up on your timeline wasn't rejection, it was redirection. And now, finally, divine timing is catching up with your surrendered heart. Michael steps forward in this part of your journey not to warn you, but to witness what's about to unfold. He's watched over your house while you slept. He's fought battles on your behalf you never even knew were coming. And now, he whispers, it's time. Time for your heart to be restored. Time for joy to return to your eyes. Time for the goodness of God to overtake the areas where grief thought it won. The heavens are not distant. They are leaning in. Not because of your strength, but because of your surrender. You have moved something in the spiritual realm simply by not quitting when everything inside you wanted to. And God, the Father of mercy, the architect of healing, the keeper of promises, he speaks now with a softness that melts away every lie. You didn't miss me. I was never far. I've been walking every valley with you. I've been catching every tear, even the ones you wiped away quickly before anyone saw. I know your ache. I know your confusion. And I want you to know, I still choose you. Not a version of you that has everything figured out. Not a version of you that always gets it right. I choose the real you. The tender you. The trying you. The one who wonders if they've been too much or not enough. I choose you. Always. The noise of life has tried to distract you from this truth, but your spirit knows it well. You've always belonged to something bigger. That's why nothing temporary ever satisfied you. That's why the applause of people always felt incomplete. Because your soul wasn't created for claps, it was created for communion. Deep, unbreakable, soul-to-soul connection with the God who breathed you into existence. And now that connection is being restored. Right here. Right now. Without effort. Without performance. Just presence. Just awareness. Just sacred stillness. So exhale, beloved. Exhale the pressure. Exhale the pretending. Exhale the idea that you have to earn what's already been promised. This is your reminder, you are enough, right now. This is your reset. Your refilling. Your revival. And all heaven is leaning over with joyful expectation, because the breakthrough is no longer coming, it has already begun inside of you. This is not the end of your story. This is not the leftover blessing. This is the unveiling of everything God has hidden in you for such a time as this. You've spent so much of your life being the strong one. Holding others. Encouraging others. Fixing what breaks, even while something inside you stays wounded. And still, you rise. Still, you show up. Still, you carry the weight of memories, the silence of battles no one knows you fought. But now heaven speaks, not just to the strong parts of you, but to the weary parts. The tired eyes. The aching heart. The soul that says, I can't do this anymore, and God says, good. Now I can. Because your surrender isn't weakness. It's the doorway through which divine strength enters. Not to make you more like the world, but to return you to yourself. There is a reason you never quite fit into the mold others placed you in. A reason why shallow conversations left you drained. A reason why temporary things never felt fulfilling. Because you were not built for surface. You were built for sacredness. You were designed for deep love, not loud love. Gentle strength, not noisy approval. God placed eternity in your spirit, and it's that eternity that calls to you now. That eternal voice that says, "You were not born to be tolerated. You were born to be treasured. You are not an accident in this world. You are a miracle walking among it." Archangel Michael does not come with a warning today, he comes with a witness. Because heaven has witnessed how many nights you cried without sound. How many smiles you gave while your soul whispered for help. And through it all, Michael guarded your name. He protected the promises over your life. He stood in front of doors that weren't ready and whispered to heaven, "Not yet, but soon." And now, beloved, it is soon. Now, it is your time. This isn't just another moment. This is a spiritual appointment. One where everything you've lost is being redeemed. One where the you that almost gave up, finally gets to breathe. God sees the way your mind replays old conversations, old mistakes, old seasons that left wounds instead of answers. But today, He reaches into that memory and says, "Let me be the narrator now." Because when God rewrites your story, shame becomes strength, heartbreak becomes healing, and regret becomes redemption. You are not too far gone. You are not late. You are not cursed. You are being rebuilt from the inside out. Heaven is not waiting for you to change before loving you. Heaven is loving you into your change. This is not about being religious. This is not about rules. This is about relationship. This is about heaven saying, "You've been alone in that pain long enough. Let me hold it. Let me heal it. Let me show you how safe you really are in my presence." No masks. No filters. No fear. Just you and God. Just you and truth. Just you and the unshakable love that has followed you from your first cry to this very breath. Nothing you've done has ever made God stop loving you. And nothing you could ever do will make Him love you more. His love isn't a transaction. It's a home. It's a return to belonging. So now, let your soul sit down. Let your chest soften. Let your jaw unclench. You don't have to hold it all together anymore. The miracle is not in doing more. The miracle is in being still enough to receive. Heaven is ready. Your angels are ready. Michael is standing. God is near. And everything you've been waiting for, is already on the way.